Okay, this is Muddin with BEAGS, episode 12. Gonna look at some catalogs. Let's see, daylight, three-way sidewalk lights, American three-way Luxfer Prism company. So Luxfer, I would imagine, comes from Lucifer. It's just they're hiding that. So let's look and see what they got. This is a picture inside of a store. This is a basement here. It says, let's see, women's dresses sold under three-way daylight at sidewalks. So basically, you got the prism lights up here in the ceiling. This is under the sidewalk here, this whole area. And they would build stores under here. But basically, it's a cover-up for the mud flood. And these pavement lights, you could see them better here. There's your prisms right there. Here's another look. Looks like a boiler. Yep, boiler room. This is underneath what's called a vault in the sidewalk. So the sidewalk's right here. You're up here minding your own business walking, and all this here is underneath the sidewalk. Now, does that make any sense? I mean, why not just build your building so the floors that have access to what's called daylight are above ground? I mean, it's common sense, really. I mean, seriously. I mean, I understand this is built supposedly in times where there was no electricity and they had gaslight and all that happy horse shit. But come on, we got to get past all that because that's just not true. Okay, we we didn't build these buildings. This looks like, where is it? Yeah, I was about to say Chicago. Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of people. That is just incredible. I don't know. You can go back and read all this. I suggest. And that way you can gain something from it. Here's them testing these vault lights. This is a panel. They would make, in some places, pre-made panels of the prism lights, and they would ship them to you, and you could install them, and it was a means of making it quicker. Basically, hide your mud flood quicker. Basically, what I think is that they dug up the front of the buildings, went down, and took out the windows and the doors, the frames, and the any telltale signs, and then they secured. A lot of times they blocked up the area that was open from the windows and doors, and then they created a vault, and then they put prism lights, these things, over that to then allow them to use that vault and to get the light into the basements. But basically, I think that these are covering up that they dug these out in order to get rid of the windows and doors, and I think a lot of them were brought to the first floor, the new first floor, excuse me, and used. Just the theory. Can't really see. Testing. Okay. They're testing the glass, I think. Anyways, but going back to this here, right here, this is very important because now in our time, these things are, well, way earlier in our time actually. These have been failing for a long time. They're failing because people would drive over them. Like in the cities, they would drive up on the sidewalks to make deliveries of things and fall through them. And so, and also, over time, they get these little cracks in the concrete and the water seeps down. And this has also got, not rebar, but basically a steel structure that this fits into. And I think you'll see it later. But that steel has rusted, and they're failing. and that's why you don't see many of them, because they've failed. So they're very rare at this point. But at one time in the early 1900s, these things, from what I can tell, were damn near everywhere. I'm finding them even in small towns. I don't care if you live in a big city or a small town. The telltale signs are there. They're being found. I've these things were. They sold a lot of these things, and I believe we made them. It's my opinion. I believe we made the Prism lights. Now that we could have taken that technology from the old world, that's possible, but I definitely believe that we came up with this horse shit. This it, it it's not the technology of what it does, how it works. It's the implementation that is horseshit. I mean, it just doesn't. I think the old world would have done something that worked, and this obviously didn't work. They also put chemicals in here, elements in here that solarized the glass, which turned it purple, which is why they are purple now. Some of them are straw colored. The later ones were straw colored, but if you see ones that are clear, they're definitely not old. They have been replaced or they are newer. But here's some sidewalks. New York, Pennsylvania, Kansas City. They were all over the world. That's interesting. They're pouring into a mold, it looks like. Interesting. I bet this was really interesting to see. Subway station in Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Newark, New Jersey. This is kind of the construction. See, right here you have the metal. This right here is also like a rebar. You got your concrete here. That's a metal frame. And this is the I-beam that it would sit on. That's the lower structural aspect of it. Wow. Okay. Let's get through all this mess. See, there's your metal going this way and your metal going that way. New York City, Union Station, Chicago, South Bend, Indiana. Think about that, South Bend, Indiana. I mean, you don't think that is a major, huge major city, yet there it is. I've been to South Bend. I can't remember a lot about it, but I don't remember it being very big at all. But that's just my memory. I've been a lot of places, and I can't remember it all. Oh yeah, and I'm drinking coffee. Thank you, Rachel, if you're out there. Anyways, you know what I mean. Let's see, Simplex Fresnel slabs used for floor lights in waterworks. So this is a waterworks plant, and they use them in the plant to get light to a lower area in the plant, which makes me believe that this plant is mud flooded, and they had to get light down here to the equipment that they stole. So they've stole this waterworks. I believe all the waterworks plants were stolen too. That they were here also. Look into waterworks plants, steam plants, all that stuff. But yeah, I think that I believe anytime you see this stuff, just stamp it mud flood. I just I'm done thinking it's this or that or possible. No, I think yeah, you see it mud flood. Click, hit the stamp button. Pow. Let's see. Omaha, Nebraska. So there'll be pavement lights right here down here. I've been to Omaha. Let's see. Leavenworth, Kansas. Don't think I've been there. Insurance Exchange, Boston, Mass. Yes, oh yes, been there. Wow, look at that Tartarian building right there. Good grief. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. 40,000 square feet of three-way standard simplex sidewalks in Michigan Boulevard Link in Chicago, the Wrigley's building. Look at that sucker. Tartaria. Good gracious. Tribune Tower, Chicago. Wow, that's cool. So they're saying that's got pavement light. Now I know that Chicago was raised. Um, I believe that some of the glass block probably was there earlier than others, maybe, but they would have after they raised Chicago, which they raised it because it was mud flooded. By the way, um, look into that. They raised the entire damn city, excuse me. They raised the whole thing with big old horse shit. I mean, the load of horse shit they got going on in Chicago. I mean, you better wear your boots because you're gonna get it on you, and you going I mean, it's bad. And they hit it good there. They just went in and raised the whole damn city. We'll handle this mud flood bullshit. Just raise the city, and they made everybody do it. You either had to raise your building up to the new grade, or you had to tear it down. I mean, they made laws and they didn't give you a fucking choice. Hey, we're gonna deal with this, no problem. Then they did it. Okay. Wow. Oh, that's interesting. All constructions and all types of glass shown in this bulletin can be supplied in slabs. That's the pre-manufactured pieces, or built on the job by our experienced workmen. So I think that you could buy. I think you could buy, from what I've read, you could buy the parts and you could have a contractor put it in. But I think they also had uh, certain contractors that were experienced in the installation of it. And I think that was more common than anything else because I think they really didn't want the general public contractor to have access to the knowledge of what was going on here in the cover up. So I would imagine there was not too much of that. But I'm sure there was some regular contractors that got into that. Um, Magnolia Life Building in Dallas, so that has pavement lights down here. They're telling you where it is. And see, back then when this catalog came out, they would have this would have been advertising because advertising was a lot different back then. They're basically saying, "Hey, look at this big ass Tartarian building that we stole, and then we put pavement light on it. Please buy our pavement light. Order from us." And there was lots of companies that did this. There is a pre-manufactured slab that is packaged, ready for shipment. Okay, here if you buy, they're delivered to the job completely finished, ready, slip to seat and joint, waterproofed. Yeah. No building forms, no delays on account of labor, no delays because of bad weather, no renewals or replacements. Yeah, I think they might regret those words. Crated slabs stored, job waiting installation. Okay. And this is installing them. Here's kind of a framework of what it would sit on, and this is one way of doing it. There were other ways. So they're laying a little kind of like concrete, kind of a caulk kind of thing. He's hiding out unpacking it here. Let's go back up here. Laying it down. He's filling in the edges here with a cement in order to be like a kind of like a caulk. We would use a caulk today. They used a lot of cement for joining joints, paint joints with primer. Huh. Interesting. Let's go on down. Okay, that is the end of that catalog. So can't read the date, but I imagine that is 1927. Trying to see if there's a date. I like to know when things are put out. I don't know if I see it or don't see it. There's a date right there. I'd say 1927 if I had to guess. Anyways, Okay, that's the first catalog. All this will be in the link in the, there'll be links in the description. All right. Okay, next up we got Glass Manual, Pittsburgh Plate Glass Company. Geo Plate Glass, wait, Company, Plate Glass Company. Oh, Geo Damn Incense. I don't know who that is. Okay. Let's see. I don't, I think that's just telling you how to work the manual thing. I don't know. 1946. Okay, we're not going to read any of this. Blah, blah. Historical data. Glass and its composition. It's an interesting picture. Glass, the material. Whoa, okay. Hello, illuminated dye. Okay. I got the all-seeing eye looking at research, illumination, vision, health, shelter, communication, transportation, food, and drink. Huh. I. Okay. That's very interesting. The history of glass begins with the creation of the world. Oh, okay. So some good reading here. Link's gonna be in the description. Y'all can go back and read this. Okay, so they're giving a bullshit explanation there. Got a rose window there. So anybody that's interested in glass making, they can check this catalog out and learn some things. This is a very large catalog, 552 pages. So I'm not going to read nothing. You have to read it yourself. Besides, if I read it to you, you don't get as much out of it. So read it yourself, and you'll get a lot more knowledge than if some jackass reads it to you. You need to do your own thing there and got your Vitruvian man looking thing. That's interesting. Okay, alright. Okay, God's selection, trust, blah blah blah. There's their manufacturing warehouse. There's another one. There's some more. That's an interesting cart. Must be a delivery truck. Wow, look at those furnaces. That's a cool picture. Oh, went the wrong way. Let's see. Big old, wait, that's plate glass, right? The big old plate glass. Glass making is very complicated. Before I woke up to Mudflood and started researching this stuff, I didn't really take glass too seriously. I mean, it's just glass. I mean, I don't know. We're so ignorant. Before we're awake to these things, we're just ignorant as hell. Looks like they got prism lights up there. I don't know. Hard to tell. Let's move on. Oh, that's weird. Let's be telling what all their different parts to the plant are. This thing loads weird. That's weird. I guess they're getting the minerals or whatever underground here. Moving right along. Try to book through this a little bit. These pictures in these catalogs are really cool. It's wild looking. Modern glass tank or furnace. Huh. Weird. What's going on there? Moving right along. Ooh. Yeah, glass is very complicated. Making plate glass there, it looks like. Some of these plate glasses, I mean, I just look at the size of that. Does that even make any damn sense? I mean, it's almost like we shouldn't make stuff that big. It's just how do you it just because you can do something like why would you okay I don't know that doesn't make, think about how big a storefront window is today. Is it that damn big? I mean, I just don't, and maybe they are. I don't know. I oh oh, that must be like a buffer or something. I don't know. That's weird. Huh. Let's see here. Crate it up there. I mean, I just never knew that glass was so dang complicated. Like I said, I'm gonna fly through this because it's long and you can go back and look at it yourself. And look at that. Got prism lights down here in the floor. This must be on the front of a building. Dang. Dang, I need to hold on a second. I need to copy that. Hold on just a second. I got to get that. Okay. Alright. I'll get that. I'll get back to that later. I saved that for my collection. Okay. I got thousands of pictures of prism lights and the data behind it, but I'm always finding new stuff. Okay. Sorry, locked up on me or something. I don't know. Really weird. What's going on here? Showing some of the uses of the glass. Big whoopty. Look at that thing. What the hell? Is that? What is that? Flat drawn sheet glass. Wait. Okay, so let me look at this. Oh, too far. Let me look at this thing as a whole. That's a crazy contraption right there. I guess it goes. No? Is it going up? It's going up. How in the hell does that work? The glass is in here, I'm assuming molten, and it goes up? How does it get. Okay. I mean, it almost looks like they come up here and then cut it off and put it on this rack here. I don't know what the heck. this guy's doing? Okay, that's interesting. I have no idea what that is. That's, oh, too much. Let's see. Buttons aren't toys. That's really weird. Wonder if that's that machine right there. I don't know. See, I think we stole all these plants, you know, glass manufacturing plants. I don't think that we came up with this mess. I think we figured out how to use it. I think it's also very possible that um there was people in the old world that actually worked in these plants and gained the knowledge of how it worked. I think that's how and why we could take over some of these technologies when we, you know, when we finally got control of it. I think because we had some of the knowledge already. That's just a thought. Who knows? So many questions. Processed products, like your processed cheese. Mmm, processed. You know, I remember when cheese used to taste good. Cheese don't taste good no more. Ain't tasted good since I was a little boy. That's cool. It's curving it. Wow, that's pretty neat. Glass is crazy. Move along here. Oh, they're making a curved stair there. I mean, all this stuff is French to me. I don't know what I'm looking at. Huh, bulletproof glass, I guess. Damn. It's funny how everything always starts or ends up being military use. It's amazing how our culture can come up with a billion different ways to kill each other, yet we can't fight the common damn cold. You know, we can't pull together and say, hey, instead of building another atom bomb or another gun or another tank or another, you know, super carrier, why don't we, you know, figure out how to stop the common cold or, you know, maybe, you know, end poverty? I just thought, I mean, I think I'd rather end poverty than have a damn super carrier. But I mean, although their super carriers are pretty cool, I've been on them. I mean, that's pretty neat. But I mean, to be honest with you, I really couldn't care less if we had any. I mean, why I want to go all the way around the world to blow up little people that I ain't ever seen or heard from, don't know nothing about them. That you know, y'all have created a false flag event to go over there and kill them, and then you're gonna make me pay for with taxes. Well, kiss my ass. I ain't doing it. I'm done. Interesting picture there. Huh. It's like some kind of coded bullshit. I don't know. No. Anyway, excuse for the rant. Let's see. Da, 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 da. In only. So I'm gonna hit my glass with a baseball bat. Yeah. That's like reminds me when they came out with shatter resistant ketchup bottles in the 80s. And I was like, because everything was glass before that. And I thought, shatter resistant. Well, what's that mean? So I held it up, a brand new bottle of ketchup, and I dropped it from like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet off the ground. And they mean, they, they literally meant shatter resistant, not proof. And ketchup went everywhere. I get in trouble for that. Anyways, well, yeah, I ain't never seen such a thing. At a different time, I guess. Shatter resistant. They're probably shatterproof now. I don't know. I ain't dared to try it again. Let's see. Making glass block, it looks like. Glass block's been around a lot longer than I realized too. I used to think that glass block was invented in the 90s for some strange reason. I don't know why, but it was not. It was invented a long time ago. Early 1900s, maybe even earlier. I can't remember when, but it. I don't know. I always thought that it was invented later. That's my ignorance. You know, the ignorant are ignorant of their ignorance. I didn't know that I didn't know, but I'm breaking that ignorance, just like everybody else can. You know, ignorance is just not knowing. That's all it is. Doesn't mean you're stupid. Of course, I used to think that ignorance was basically being stupid. That's not true. That's not true. Just like what is a conspiracy theorist? You know, it's a person that studies conspiracies. And what is a conspiracy? A conspiracy is two or more people getting together to plan illegal acts. Okay, so you're telling me there's in the history of all man there's never been a conspiracy? Well, of course there has. There's been billions of conspiracies. Okay, so a person, well, that's interesting right there. A person that yeah, I'm gonna put glass around my fireplace. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, a person that studies conspiracies is just a person that studies people committing, you know, illegal acts. That's all it is. But no, they, in quotes, want you to think that it's some kind of cuckoo clock. Why ain't no damn cuckoo clock? I know all about it. Studied all that shit. I know more about that stuff than I even want to admit. Wow, look at there. That's interesting. I would say that right there is akin to an 8-point asterisk. You got your vertical, your horizontal, and your X. This would represent the Taurus. You know, this could be your four angels, as Martin would say. So something interesting there. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, anybody that's interested in glass making will be very interested in this. Oh, that was cool. The etching right there. I just don't understand how they do all this. This stuff is just Swahili to me. I don't speak Swahili. I speak English. I tried taking French once. That didn't take. I couldn't get past the fact that the French didn't put ice in their Coca-Cola. I don't know. It's just one of those things like my ice in my Coca-Cola. I know it waters it down, but I like it. I like it cold. Anyways, although Coke ain't good for you. We all know this. If you could pour a Coke on a battery to clean the battery acid off of a battery, you know it ain't good for you. Here's another thought. Would you pour Coca-Cola on your plants? Nope, you would not. Look at that piece of glass. Damn. The scale of this is just retarded. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. Just because you can do stuff doesn't mean you should do it. You know, if giants were the ones making all this big ass glass, I mean, it'd be no problem for them. I mean, yeah, they have to be careful and everything, just like we do, but if you've ever handled glass, you know how tricky that is. You know how heavy it is. You know how fragile it is. You know how hard it is to walk with it. You know how it's just making it bigger. I mean, I think I've shown pictures of them, but I've seen pictures of them. If you see these old pictures of where they're installing the plate glass and they're walking with it, I mean, they got like 20 guys on one pane of glass or more. I mean, it probably more. It could be up to 40 guys just to put in one pane of glass. And the scale of that just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me. Might make sense to somebody else, but it don't make sense to me. It don't fit with my thinking. Like look at this here. This is them bringing it in, but this isn't even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there's sheets that are bigger than this. I don't know if they're going to show one of those or not. Yeah, this isn't a bigger one. Yeah, this is a smaller one, definitely. See, this is more a size that we would do today. Okay, I could see us doing this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like might be another guy in here. At least 6 guys hanging that. I could see that. Yeah, this is the boss man right here. That's boss man. In case you need boss man. Caleb, there's your boss man. I know you always want to find the boss man. Whenever you see the guy sitting around, looking, watching, that's your boss man. I always try to notice the boss man because they know more than the rest of them. The rest of them are just, making a little bit of change, you know what I mean? That boss man, he's the one that knows stuff. He's the one we need to shake down for intel. So if you know the boss man, look at that fella. Now he knows something right there. That old timer right there, he knows something. Talk to old people. I'm telling you right now, that old people know something. They know stuff. You just got to shake it out of them. Say, hey, tell me what you know. I know you know something about this Mudflood. I know you know. Tell the truth. They don't know. I don't think they know. I'm just playing. I wish I could have. Wish I had known about this earlier in my life. There was, quite a few people I would have asked questions about what do you know, because I know they probably knew something, but now they're gone. I missed my chance. Don't miss yours. You might know somebody. Some of these folks around here is old enough to remember, before the turn of the century. I mean, they're probably very few, but if you're lucky enough to talk to them and get anything out of them, man, you find out what they know. Interview them, record it. If you know somebody that's 120 years old and they can still talk, they still got the wits about them, it's somewhat, you go talk to them. I don't know, what's she doing? What is she doing, a weirdo? I don't know. Okay. I think we're getting the back of the catalog here. Move forward. That's probably. Oh, I got something. What's that? I don't know what that is. Well, a lot of technical data in here. If you like glass making, you might find some interesting stuff in here. This is above my pay grade, I guess they say. I don't know. Yeah, if you know somebody that's elderly that, I love elderly people. You learn much more from them because because they know they've had years and years and years to develop their mind, and they know things that we don't know. They have a perspective we don't have. Now that doesn't mean they're right, but they have a different perspective. I don't take elderly people to be, all knowing. That's a trap we fall into. They're not. They grew up on the same horse shit we did in different ways. Okay, they were indoctrinated in a whole different way, so their thinking's skewed too. But they know things. They learned things in their lives. Talk. What I'm saying is talk to old people. Talk to them, and they love nothing more than to talk to you. So, anyways, let's see. Talk to a young person, all you get is a blank stare because they can't even talk now. They're so smartphone addicted. They can't even hold a damn conversation with you. They don't know what planet they're on. The only thing they know is what they're told to take on the test at school. And then once they've taken the test, they forget all that knowledge. It's ridiculous. You can't get educated in our education system. It's bullshit. If you want education, you got to teach yourself. As Campbell says, autodidactic. Of course, I don't, I never used the word autodidactic before he started doing his thing, but, just self-taught. You want to learn something, go to the bookstore or go to the library or go online, which I hate. I hate ebooks. I hate them. I want a book holding my hand. That's just me personally. It's a personal thing. Like, I can't stand reading this stuff right here off the screen. I would love to have these, uh, in a actual physical form. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing I've got. Okay, this is a website I found that I wanted to share. It's called Forgotten Chicago, and I'll leave the link in the description. There's a lot of very cool stuff that you can look into on this site, but I wanted to show one page from this site to kind of get you started, give you an idea of what they're doing here. So we'll look at that now. Okay, forgot Chicago's Glass Block Part 1. I have not found Part 2 yet. 1893, Early Glass Block and Prism Glass. Ooh, Prism Glass. Look around when you're out about Chicago. Check out industrial buildings. Look at basement windows. Man after my own heart here. Or it could be a woman. I don't know. Look at the bathroom windows. It's hard to miss glass block. Blah, blah, blah. Where did it come from? So they're talking about glass block here, which, I'm not real interested in. Although there is a type that I am interested in, but that's not this. I'll have to get to that later. 1893 Colombian Exposition, introducing many things. One of the lesser known first, the exposition showed the United States the first glass bricks in 1893. See, that I didn't know. See, like I said earlier, I thought they were, came around in the 90s. That would be my ignorance. Yep. So anyways, I was wrong there. So now I'm learning. Anyways, 1880s for types of glass block, geometric shapes. At 1893 Colombian Exposition, it was shown at the horticultural building. Blah, blah, blah. Commissioned for a new departure in glass building. Their ability, adaptability, conservatories for plant cultivation. And this is his mugshot. He's probably got his hand in his pocket there doing the hidden hand. Anyways, I believe that's the, yeah, that's the horticultural building at the fair thing. There's an ad for Brown Brothers Manufacturing. Coal hole covers here. Got your prism uh, lights here. This is a vault. This whole area here, it's called the vault. This is the sidewalk. And you got your prism lights all throughout, letting the light into the vault and also into the basement. This is the building. And your road is up here. That's another thing is this goes under the road. So your sidewalk would go up to here, and a lot of times the vault goes underneath the street. So you have to think about this. All this had to be dug out in order to do this. Now, if you imagine, use your third eye and just remove everything here, doesn't that look like a normal building? Think about that. Interesting. Wow. Let's move on. I'm going to leave links in the descriptions to all this mess. Got your Lucifer prisms. That must be your light bearer. These are locations of the prisms and the prism lights and the pavement lights here in Chicago that they have found. Now this is after they destroyed most of them. So there's your prism lights up in the transom. That's this business here up above the store windows is called a transom. Okay. That's an opening transom so they could get air in. There's your transom above the windows. I believe these fire escapes were added later. There's a transom in modern day. Here's prism lights coming in to light. This looks like a ballroom to me. Oh, so, huh. Chicago Stock Exchange. Huh. That's interesting. Wow, look at the detail on that. See, all this would be metal. You know, this was a metal that they put on. I don't think we did this. There's your transoms right there with your prism lights. That is a very odd picture. What in the world are they doing there? Ooh, that went big. Oh, it goes really big, really quick. Oh, I don't like that. Wow, I got to look at that. Wait a minute. Looks like that is really freaky. What is that? The Clan store? Freaks. Okay. All right. There's your looks for prisms. These were designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. You might know who he is. See right there, Frank Lloyd Wright. Told you. And this is one of his famous designs. Now tell me that ain't sacred geometry. Shit. All that sacred geometry. I don't know what they were doing with light using that, but they were up to something there. That's interesting. That must be a... What is that? That's crazy looking. Frank Lloyd Wright. Light right panel. Okay. Glass panel. Alright. Big old transoms there. There's a pavement light inside. something else they did. It's interesting right there. It's hard to see. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Okay. That's not what I thought it was. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Here they've covered up the transoms. This is from inside the store. I believe we added all these transoms. I believe this is our horse shit. Now this technology might have come from the old world, but I believe we added this horse shit. And this metal here where they were put together, it's all not good. They've had to go back and repair it. Most of them got covered up. But if you know what to look for, you could drive down even in small towns and see these things all over the place. Now, if you see these things, the same people sold the prism lights that went in the sidewalks. So if I see these, I start looking down. And that's how you find them a lot of times. They've been painted over here. See, this is called solarizing when they turn purple. When you see them purple, you know they're old. That's telltale sign. You cannot create this now. This is not. In order to look like this, it has to be the old ones. So when you see that, that sucker's old. Old. If you see the newer ones, if you see ones like this, it just means that they were covered up or stored. And sometimes they recreate them, but if these are old, over time they will solarize. So time will tell. And they probably are. That's probably gonna, in the future, they're just gonna turn purple, which defeats the whole purpose. Which leads me back again to it's horseshit that we built, because we build crap. I mean, look at, everything comes from China. That's us. I know it's not, let's say, American made, but it's us. It's our size people. We create horseshit. We're very good at horseshit creation. And we build everything with obsolescence. Everything. I don't care what it is. We design obsolescence into it. I am not obsolete. I exist. Anyways, if designs had worked as planned, prism glass would be everywhere. Instead, we have a newer entry into the field of glass. In part 2, we discussed the rise of glass block and how it took the architectural world by storm. I still have not found part 2. Maybe somebody else can find it for me. There's something else I want to look at, and it is where? No. Ah, okay. This part right here I like. Where did it all go? All through the 1920s, a plethora of factors contributed to the downfall of prism glass. First, the louver design made the cleaning of the panels themselves difficult. The louver design, meaning that they would open and close to let air in, and to take the light and turn it so it would go further back in the store as the sun would rise, often making the windows allowing less light than normal windows. So that's very important. These things, okay, these things right here, these transom prisms, okay, this business here, were designed specifically by us to pull in more light and shoot it further into the building. Okay? But right here it's talking about how that they made less light come in. So they reversed They were horse shit. I mean, that's the bottom line. Okay, second, electric light had grown in popularity. Because remember, all these were done before electric light. They had gas light, um, which I believe we did the gas light. If you look into the history of gas lighting, it was very dangerous. It's just, man, they were blowing things up left and right. I mean, you still see it today. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm still dumbfounded as to why they allow us to install gas. Um, I mean, how many times have you seen explosions, natural gas explosions in your town and city? I mean, I remember one recently in, I think it's Durham, North Carolina, just blew the ever living shit out of the place. But I mean, it happens all over the place. I mean, don't you think maybe that there's a problem there, people? I mean, just a thought. Matter of fact, a house that we lived in when I was a teenager, it it was a rental, and we moved out, and it had a gas stove. But when we moved out, a guy that we knew moved in, on recommendation that we're moving out. Oh, I need a place to stay, and he moved in. But anyways, that guy went to light the stove, and it blew him across the room into the refrigerator, and it would have killed him if he wasn't such a large guy. So I could have been, a shish kebab uh, when I was in like sixth grade. So, anyways, third styles changed, minimalism, modernism, blah blah blah, air conditioning. Oh yeah. Uh, so I don't think they needed air conditioning back in the old world, or heating as we need it. I think they had heating, but I don't think it was heat like we use at all. It definitely wasn't fireplaces. I mean, I'm sorry. Fireplaces were not fireplaces. You need to, if you don't know that by now, you need to look into fireplaces. Fireplaces were not freaking fireplaces. And if you don't understand that, then the reason you don't understand it is because you have never worked with a fireplace. You have to have the experience of heating with using a fireplace. If you have I have a wood stove, so I'm what would be called an expert in the use of a fireplace. Um, you have to know what the hell you're doing. The first time I lit it, I smoked the place out because I lit this little tiny fire. I made a look perfect little tiny little sticks of ready to go. Now I was a Boy Scout, so I know how to make a damn fire, but I made a small fire, a very small fire intentionally, because I'd never used this wood stove before. I'd never used a wood stove before, and I wanted to be very careful about how I did it, and I was very, very careful. But I learned very quickly. I learned the hard way that is very stupid. So in my ignorance, I smoked out the entire place, and what it is that you have to get a fire going hot enough that the smoke will rise. Smoke doesn't just rise. This is something I learned. So uh, that's important. Um, but anyways, my point is that I know about fireplaces. Okay, and I grew up with a fireplace. I had a fireplace for a lot of my life, um, and they are very temperamental, and uh, they do not heat very well. They're study fireplaces. You'll have some epiphanies. The windows weren't as durable as advertised. Yes, they were definitely not. A few of the company versions survived the elements like hail, ice, etc. Electric glazing had issues that possibly caused cracking. Windows that weren't electric glazed had zinc or lead between the panes, and that disintegrated over time. The Great Depression can't have helped with the cost of maintaining such windows. Oh, that's a very good point. Never thought of that. So basically, they're saying that these things were installed prior to the Great Depression, and then the Great Depression comes along, and all these businesses are having trouble, failing. They don't have money for repairs. So then all these things don't work very well anyway. So let's cover them up, put some big ass signage up there, and they were forgotten. And I'll be honest with you, I can't say I've ever seen them before I started studying the mudflood. If I had, I didn't take notice of it, but they were definitely covered up. But start looking for these things. You see these things. I believe that these prism glasses that go in these transom are also telltale signs of mud flood. Okay, that they're connected. Okay, leg bones connect to the knee bone. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Let's see. Use of advertising and signage grew. Well, yeah, they love their signage. Many shops were far more interested in larger areas for their signs. That's what I just said, isn't it? The transom areas above the display windows were a natural place for signs and awnings. A natural place for signs and awnings. Y'all think you should have thought of that when you designed the fucking building? You don't think you could have figured out we need a place for the sign or the awning or like you think about this. You think about how deep these stores are. Go to I see this. It's really easier to see in a small town, but you go in these stores and these stores are 80 foot deep. Okay, and there's light coming in the front window, and then there's no windows on the back. Okay, and if there are, they're usually covered up. They're bricked over. Okay, so that means that all the light, this is before electric light now, they had to get the light from the front of that store to the back. Now, I'll tell you right now, I've been in these buildings, okay? I have been in these pre-1900 buildings. And you go to the back and you're in there with the lights off. It's dark, man. You can't see shite. You can't see nothing. Okay, it's dark. And they're talking about that's going to be a store. What about a house? What about like an apartment? Let's think about on top of that. Okay, we all know the stores are on the bottom, but what about on top of that? What about like an apartment? Are you going to have no walls in your apartment? What if you put walls in? You got zero light past the first of the building. Okay, you got like 20 feet of light, and then you got walls, and then the rest of the whole place is a dungeon. Does that make sense? Think about that. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. This is pre-electric, and not everybody had gas. That means they were using candles. You're in a city using a candle. Okay? Now, I know a lot of them burned down because they used the candles, but I'm saying, what if you're building this thing, why would you design it that way? You're supposedly in a time where you don't have electricity and you're fully fucking aware that there's no fucking light. Excuse my French. We got to start using our heads, people. Okay? Wake up. It doesn't make any damn sense. Anyways, I've read, I think, let me make sure I read that. If you look at many of the older Chicago storefronts today, whoops, I just wrote on that. I didn't mean to. Sorry about that. You can see the shadows of where the prism glass would have been hidden behind boarded up transoms and tucked behind signs and awnings. So, and this is all metal here. This ceiling here, by the way, that's all metal, and they paint it. Looks like wood, but it's metal. Anyways, that's about it for this one. I'm gonna leave links in the description, and go check out this Chicago website, the Forgotten Chicago, because there's a lot of cool stuff on there. And let me know what you find. I'm interested. All right, this Biggs out.
Say woof again! Say woof again!
I've got one that can see.
This is my kung fu, and it is strong.
See you later.